Okay, we're recording now. So, and
Are you recording?
I'm recording now.
All right, I'm recording.
Right. So we need a clap sync.
1,
2,
3. All right. So, there should be an intro for this.
There's no intro.
So I'm just gonna get into it.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. Where do I start? Do you feel like you beat the dead horse dry?
Beat the dead horse dry. In what context?
Talking about Kenny and the fact that she broke your heart.
I would say the subject matter itself, I'm done talking about it. There's an ever-present evolution in me, I suppose. And it's not even intentional, but it seems like, every now and again I'll think about it, and then I'll learn something new about myself, something I like or something I don't like, or X, Y, Z. And so it's like I didn't intend for it to be, but it became such a focal point of wow, look at how much I've grown. There's the pre, there's the post. So talking about her specifically, yeah, that's mad dead. But the subject matter or the growth around it, again, every day I wake up and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
All right, because sometimes you would allude to things like you did on social media the other day, or maybe that would have been today when you said the sunflower and the rose. So I was wondering if there would be more content about that situation, or if you've gone past that already.
I mean, the sunflower and the rose, there's a subtextual conversation there. And then it had already been released on SoundCloud, and so now it's on Apple Music and Spotify. And so I was shameless plug. And so I dropped it, on IG and everything, and that was reinvigorating, because that was to me a battlefield of sorts. When a relationship dies, social media can kind of become a battlefield. I don't think it should, between maybe two mature parties that are healthily breaking apart from one another, but that isn't what happened.
Okay. So this is actually a good follow-up. How do you feel you've evolved artistically?
I've learned to channel those emotions a little bit more purely. I feel like with the gray, it was so raw. It was so critical and uncut. It really wasn't, let me make it all pretty, let me do all this. I was mad, I was upset, I was in deep thought, I was depressed. And so from that, I feel like I've grown as an artist to the point where now when I feel those emotions, because I still do, about anything, I can focus them down, really focus them down to the point where I'm actually producing something that isn't just rah, 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 I'm upset, rah, 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 heartbreak, rah, 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 this or that, but it's yo, this is something that happened after critical examination. This is my conclusion, or this is a checkpoint in that storyline.
So do you feel like your skills have grown in writing and your lyricism and even the production choice?
Writing and lyricism, yes, but I've in recent times changed what I'm focusing on. With
what do you mean by that?
With the gray, I wasn't focused on hooks. I was focused on the subtextual story, the coded language inside of there that was letting me get off this angst. For lack of a better term, I guess almost sneak dissing. You know what I'm saying? If you go back and read the lyrics and break that shit down, it'll be oh, that's what he meant. Oh, this, that. Now, not to say it's on a back burner, but I think any well-rounded artist is good at multiple things. I've just had to improve at multiple things. Lately I've been trying to focus on my hooks. How do I make a catchy hook? How do I make something that not only gets stuck in people's head, but is fulfilling, is entertaining, is fun, gets that emotion across? And so because of that, in this kind of balancing act, I wouldn't necessarily say every lyric is, carbon copy gold. You know what I mean? There's a balancing act. And at some point in time in my matriculation, it'll grow and balance itself. But until then, yeah, I would say that kind of shifted between projects.
All right, so there's another thing. How did you manage the dark tones with a very light hand? Because there's moments where in The Gray, the intro track, where it's like super light, but you can still feel those emotions, and then it dives really into like some heaviness. And then throughout the project, you can still feel that heaviness towards the end of The Gray, all the way up until Alive, which is like the lightest song on the album. So how did you find a way to balance that?
It came after practicing. I mean, The Gray was the back end of a slew of projects that I put together, and what was it? Out of Oxytocin was just so critical of everything. Like, it was so deep, it was so dark, it's very difficult to be palatable. But that was really, I think, in my own way, me diving as deep as I could into that dark place, saying, no, we're gonna talk about it, we're not gonna let off the gas. And so it was practicing, like, okay, I know how deep I can go, I know what that feels like, where's some healthy middle ground, where's that middle wavelength that says, I'm sad, but this is artistic, it's not drowning you, it's not choking you.
Yeah, because I remember when you released Out of Oxytocin, that was one of the projects you said you didn't want to promote per se, because it had such a heavy hand. While The Gray has I would say just about a heavy hand as that, but it's way more palatable.
For sure. And it was just, again, it was a ride, you know, between lots of self-discovery, between managing the depression, between all of those different things. It was a ride. And The Gray was a great checkpoint. It was a great end of that feeling, of that segment. So yeah.
All right, since it was such a ride, what was your favorite from that ride? The Gray, per se.
I would either say it's probably like a tie between three, because
that's half the project.
Yeah, it is half the project. You're right. You know, it's really a tie between three, because I like the project as a whole. Like, even when I revisit my work and I'm sitting down, I'm listening to it, I'll still listen to it start to finish. You know what I'm saying? The first of those things would probably be Alive, because it was, like you said, a balance between the darker tones but with a lighter hand. You know what I'm saying? And it felt so relieving. And, you know, that chorus, me playing with, you know, Allahu Akbar, you know what I'm saying? Those different, there's a lot going on in that piece that's like meant to make you think, meant to make you maybe a little uncomfortable, but was very satisfying.
Yeah.
Fake Friends was, I think, my first real single I've ever made, where it was like I made it, I said I need a single, and then it was built, and it went in. No, it was like I went in there like, this is something that needs to go up. And so Cat Slash had given me that beat, and it was perfect. It did exactly what it was supposed to do without taking away from the project as a whole. But sometimes, you know, a single can feel like that's just for radio player, that's just to get somebody's attention. But like, no, Fake Friends fits well in what that project is. And then the last one is probably Bipolar, because it was my first time really discussing this broken dichotomy inside of myself between darker thoughts in my head, between like, yo, there's a problem, I'm not okay, and really communicating that in the song, I feel like, more clearly than I ever had.
All right, so let's see where we at. All right, so can you talk about the spoken word pieces in the album versus the rap pieces and how you constructed them? And is there a separate process for each?
The spoken word aspect, I think, has always been easier for me, because I just go. You know, it's full pedal to the metal. It's whatever the topic, whatever the subject matter is. The intro to The Gray, heck, I think I even may have freestyled some of it, to be completely honest, and like afterwards tweaked it a little bit. But the process of me, again, with the spoken word piece is usually there's a subject matter or a place I'm already trying to get to, or it'll start with a hot line and it'll just grow. And I just knew I kind of wanted to, because it was, again, a part of that stretch of projects, and each one of those projects was a standout spoken word piece. And so I needed to continue
That thread.
That thread, exactly, that thread. Whereas with the music and with actually building a song, it's subject matter, but then it's really whatever comes to you first. And so what came to me first in this process was, again, Cat Slash having given me these beats to play with and to use. And from them, combined with me already doing this personal metamorphosis through this ride, it kind of hit me one after the other. The only one that came a little later was when Tony sent me the beat for Bipolar. And that one, he just sent it to me offhanded. I don't even think he knew. But it fit, again, so well with the sonic tone that me and Tony are weird guys anyway. So I think that probably helped with leading me into, like, what if this song really was like Bipolar, but I just introduced a new character.
And who would that new character be?
Jerome Torges Hamas, I guess is the... Hamas, yes.
All right. Damn, I wish this question transitioned way better.
Okay.
But fuck it. Where do you feel like you fit in the musical landscape right now? And it could be any genre, any artist. Well, in terms of the gray, where do you fit into the musical landscape? Like, if people ask you, hey, I listen to XYZ, would I like this music? Where would you fit in?
I feel like some of the more darkcore music, people probably would come over here and enjoy this. If you're a fan of, I don't want to say mental anguish, but it's funny, Mahalia Xfinity just said the other day, like, sad boys don't get fresh cuts. I feel like the gray is very sad boy. Is very, I'm upset, I'm hurt, I'm experiencing things. I don't want to, like, draw parallels, but like some of, like, Kevin Abstract feels really sad boy to me. Some of, like, XXXTentacion feels very sad boy to me. Early Childish Gambino, if you've ever listened to Cul-de-sac, very sad, you know what I'm saying? Very, like, no, and that's in it. It's not a happy album. It's an angsty album. You know, it's an album that's taking a critical assessment at what happened to me after getting my heart broken like I did. You know, I'm a different level of transparent than I think I'd been in anything that was worth listening up until that point.
Agreed.
Yeah, I was transparent almost, geez Louise, almost to my detriment. Like, one of my favorite lines is Jack Daniels doing 80 and a 20. Like, I wrote that kind of messed up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, like, that is, it's to be able to have the gift of being able to communicate what's going on with you while you're going through it in an artistic way is really just that. It's a gift. So, you know, if you're into transitionary music, if you're into somebody's growth story or epilogue, if you're into sad boy music, it would probably fit somewhere around there. That's not to say that's who I am as an artist as a whole. That's just one of the places I've gone.
So where do you fit as an artist as a whole in the musical landscape?
I would say I'm a very all-around artist, despite my discography, which is why I'm working so vehemently to diversify my portfolio. You know what I'm saying? No, like, I think there are certain artists that can really do a bunch of different things, like Kendrick Lamar, like Kanye, like Childish, like Drake, like Frank. Jeez, the list goes on and on. I could really, like, hit a billion more people, but they can really do this one thing over here, and then they'll go over here and do this thing just as well. Childish Gambino is the epitome of conversion as an artist. He went from, like, rapping over indie beats to full-on rap over, like, symphonic orchestrated symphonies and choirs into, like, real digital tones, into giving us one of the greatest urban soul R&B albums, in my opinion, of our time.
In your time?
Our time.
Our time as people, or our time
since the beginning of time?
All right, if you want to reach,
yeah, it's not a reach. It's a how do you do? This is fact. What the hell is wrong with you? No, so I'm just saying I cannot stand a myopic artist. I cannot stand a one, you know exactly what you're going in there to get, you know exactly who this person is. That's not to say that you shouldn't have certain things you want out of an artist, lyricism, stage presence, great concerts, XYZ. But for me, I need to be a jack of all trades. I need to be really good at a lot of different things. A master of none, so to speak.
All right, so what is the Gray?
The Gray is a place I crash landed. It was not supposed to be where I was, but it's where I ended up. And it's a place that's very, I guess, murky in its own way. It's not clear. It's not clear. And that's how I felt about that breakup. I was in some type of gray. I wasn't right, but I wasn't as wrong as I was being painted, given what I had done and what she had done and how that entire situation had played out. And so it left me in a place where...
So it was like, it was being treated as black and white. And it was like, you did this, so I'm going to react this way.
Exactly.
Instead of it being some type of middle ground. And you got crash landed into what that middle ground was via confusion.
Exactly, via confusion, via both of our hurt. Again, that social media aspect, the social dynamics that happened between our peer groups and everything else like that. We were, for lack of a better term, two lovers that were thrust into a very violent environment. And the reason why I spaz the way I do is because I didn't have a healthy breakdown. There really wasn't conversation come to conclusion. It's just, you're over there. You know what I'm saying? And so throughout that experience, then I end up finding myself with the likes of a Jerome, where it's like, well, maybe I am as bad as I've been painted. Maybe I am as bad as they've said I am, or what have you, or so forth and so on. And so then I said, well, manifest it. Then let it be so.
Okay. Let's see. We hit that. We hit this. Why should people care about you and your art?
I'm an artist.
Like, what makes you special? Like, everybody makes music. What makes you special?
I'm an artist you can grow with. I'm not going to become stale over time or played out or passe. It will be a new experience. It's an epic of sorts. Album to album, film to film, score to score. I just so happen to be using my life as the template or the storyline by which to communicate. So I feel like I'm special because I really give my all. I really believe in the artistic craft. And if you ever come see me perform live, I swear to God, I will do everything in my power not to disappoint. I feel like sometimes artists can be a little, look at me, look at how great I am, but I'm storytelling on stage. This is very real for me. And I'm hoping that you learn a lesson through my experiences. Like, I wouldn't wish what experiences I've had on anybody. You know what I'm saying? At least not the negative ones. Not to say that the negative ones don't help shape people just like positive ones do, but if you can learn from my experiences without going through them, then that would be great. That would be great for you to get that lesson without having to have that heartache, have that anguish, have that pain.
All right, so one of my favorite songs, personal favorite songs on the album is Alive. And every time I showed somebody the project, I would start with Fake Friends because that would be
the lead single,
the hot shit that people would be into.
Right.
But we all know people that love depth would go to somewhere where Alive is and exists. And there's a line on there where, in the intro, where you say, every day I gotta choose if I'm gonna be inside the casket. And you're very open about how you handle your mental health and how you grow from that place of darkness. So could you just speak on that one line specifically?
existing seems to be a presupposed thing, that you're just going to be here tomorrow. You don't have to be here. That is a very dark thought to have. It's a very dismal place to get to. But you have to, in your own way, take charge of your existence. And in a way, I had let the value of my existence be determined by external forces, leading me to a place where I kind of wished I was inside of a casket. I kind of wished it was over and done and just zeroed out. So I make the constant choice every day that, no, I'm going to take charge of my existence. I'm going to be all I can be, grow as a person, feel, love, hurt, grow, extend myself, shelter those who I love, shield those who I appreciate. So that line is kind of, it's kind of got a darker tone to it, because I don't know if anybody has ever woken up and considered, yo, I could end it right now. I could end all of this. This could be done. And then made the choice to not do that. That's a place that, if you know, you know.
Yeah. There's one more thing. I think there's one more I have to recount. But there's this thing that is like, everyone has something that grounds them, whether it be you making your art or you just being out with people that you love and admire. What's something that you care about that keeps you grounded? And that could be you as an artist or you as a person.
I would say as an artist, it's ironically enough, sometimes other people's music. At Camp Flog Gnaw in 2018, I cried during the Kid Cudi set. Or it was 2018, 2017, maybe 2017.
It was 2017, and then last year was Kids See Ghosts.
Right, so yeah. I cried in 2017 because I had gone with this group of friends, and everybody had Super VIP, and I didn't. I had regular. I was with Morgan, who's on, No More. We were together at that time, and Kid Cudi had just come back from basically that hiatus of like not being around and not being seen, and we knew he was in and out of rehab, and he just sang in such a way that reminded me all of these experiences, this lonely, this depression, this all of it. I wasn't alone through those experiences, and I wept, I cried. I have cried listening to Childish Gambino. I have cried listening to 21 Pilots. It's almost now a bare minimum marker for a project of mine to be concluded. They're like, yo, if it don't make me cry, it ain't coming out. I need to be weeping. You know the phrase, Jesus wept? Yeah, that way, all right? You know what I mean? So, like, that is a place that helps ground me because it's very polarizing in regards to the idea that, yo, everything ain't about you, dog. You know, it's not just you out here. Other people are experiencing what I'm experiencing in their own way, X, Y, Z. And then something that's non-artistic, that's very grounding, is when I feel like the world is like swallowing me up or it's coming down to me. One thing I really like to do is I like to go up. I like to wait until it's nighttime and I like to look up at the stars. We are a single little blue marble, a part of a celestial body with abounding stars in the universe, that any one of those stars could also be supporting life for another little marble where someone else is existing. And so it's very grounding to know you are really insignificant. You know, and not to self-deprecate because everybody has value, everybody's important, but at the same time it's like it's bigger than you.
Yeah, your problems are just as big as you make them, pretty much. Exactly. And so that's been probably one of the most grounding things to do, you know. Hectic day, panic attack, you know what I'm saying, or feeling down or maybe a little manic, and you know, I wait till the nighttime and I'm looking at the stars and I'm remembering, do what you can, where you can, for as long as you can here, and everybody else is going to do the same. I was having this conversation with a friend like probably yesterday, and it also reminded me of something I just tweeted, where it's like, it's crazy how you gotta lose yourself to find the best parts, and it's like the people that go through the manic stages of life create the best things, and it's like insane to me that has to happen for you to create something great. Do you feel like you've kind of hit that place a little bit, like the iceberg of that place a little bit, coming through what you've been through?
To a certain extent, yeah. I would be lying if I didn't say pain doesn't draw some amazing art. It really does. It's crazy. I'll look back, I'm like, man, I was just going off. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was a verse I wrote or a poem I wrote, it was like, yo, I'm sad, I'm hurt, I'm depressed, and you know. So yeah, that manic place, you're absolutely right. Of like, but you draw such amazing stuff. The question is I guess having a support system that helps you ride that out, because doing it by yourself gets really dangerous, like Basquiat Van Gogh dangerous, like Kurt Cobain, Chester from Linkin Park dangerous. And I know all of those people I just described had networks around them of people who cared and of XYZ. But again, it's a beautiful gift to be able to communicate through that experience. It's a ride. It's a ride.
So since you said that ride, this transitions into my next question actually really well. What's something that's important to you that you have to have, whether it be like a physical or non-physical thing, while you're making music? Like during your music process, what is something that has to be around or that has to happen while you're making your music?
Free-flowing and non-judgmental energy. When I'm in the studio, I'm very wild, because it's in life and in society, you have to wear, sometimes there's people who are brave enough, or maybe based on their occupation or what have you, they don't have to wear any type of mask. You can really go out and just be who you are, and the world doesn't like turn up its nose or XYZ. But for those of us who got like 9-to-5s and are worried about what a boss might see, or whether or not you get fired from what's sustaining your life, you know, because of something that maybe pops up on social media, you know, we have to kind of filter ourselves down. I am so me in the studio. I get hype. I was just in the studio with Self and Ego, and Ego was cutting up a track, and I went crazy. I'm running around the house. I'm like, oh my God, this is some of the most amazing stuff I've ever seen. And it was like free, because I wasn't worried about anything else. So it's all about that energy for me. And I start to get very picky about who's in the studio and who's not. I've had people who ask me like, yo man, I want to come see your process. I'm like, nah man, your energy just stank. Your energy's gonna get all toxic. We had a situation at a place with the guy who was our engineer, and he was messing up the energy, and I was not happy, because I was paying you not to just come in here and be an engineer, but to be a part of this creative experience, right. To be a part of this, to pour into this, what you have to offer. The presumption is you've got something to offer because you're in the room. Nah, maybe you're just a dude getting a paycheck. That's not to speak down on engineers, producers, anybody else. All of those people must be paid. For me though, before you ever get a check, we gonna have to check each other's energy to make sure that we're on a similar wavelength that is about, let's create something amazing. Let's all pour into this and make it awesome. That isn't to say, however, to cover my tracks, because it's very important, that I believe in like writing sessions. Write your own stuff. The collaborative experience should, to me, come from putting the record together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, write your own story.
Alright. So that's about it. I don't think I got anything else right now. So I'm gonna just go ahead and let you do whatever you need to do to end this. If you gotta, plug something, even though this is your shit, there's no point in plugging it. It's gonna be plugged already. But if you want to say something, about the project, about the journey it's been to get there and past it, whether that be the project or just life itself. Like, wait, hold on. Before we do that, how do you feel about censorship?
How do I feel about censorship?
Yeah, how do you feel about censorship?
I am slow to want to censor anybody. I also think it's about brand management. Case in point, you can't go on Full House and say the N-word. It's Full House. There's a thing going on over here. You know what I mean? And we don't need you to muck that up. With that being said, you just got to be careful about like what brands you're close to and what you're okay with associating with, and be okay with just being a consumer and not being a part of the production of something else based on your own merits or based on what you believe in. Case in point, there are some amazing artists that are in the hip hop realm that do music that I don't think I'd ever want to work with, because I don't believe that our brands are similar enough, or that if I made a question or made a request on a creative tip, that they would be respected enough based on, you know, just differences in how we create. That doesn't mean I'm not a consumer of what they do. I'm sure I listen to some of the raunchiest, craziest foolishness ever because I love the artistry, because I love the form. That's just not what I'm producing. So even recently I had to kind of check that in the studio because I'm writing with this guy and he's cursing on the track, and I don't prefer to have curse words in my music or what I put out for my own personal reasons. That being said, he was cool with when I asked, yo, do you mind if we censor it? You know what I'm saying? And we made it cool. You know, we bleeped it at the right moments. We played with it so that way it still got that energy off. But I don't know, but that's a well-cultivated relationship I have with that guy. I wouldn't always ask anybody that because I want to be respectful of your artistry. I want to be respectful of what you do. You know what I'm saying? That being said, I'll still get in the room with the best of them and never drop a curse word, but maybe have the coldest verse in the room. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think censorship is, at least for me personally, from a worldwide perspective, from a legal perspective, I don't necessarily support it. I think that you have a First Amendment right. You should be able to say what you please, except for, in my opinion, hate speech, because hate speech can lead to action, and action can't be taken away. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean to say that you can't disagree with a group of people or not like a group of people and be adamant about not liking that group of people. Right. But again, there's a breakaway between I don't like that group of people and this is hate speech, which condones violence or endangering people or XYZ.
All right, so cap that off. What do you have to plug? Like, what do you got to say? Final words about the project, about the journey, about life, what's to come, all of that good shit.
Project's available on all streaming services. I was just typing in my lyrics. That is the most satisfying feeling because it's like, cool, I said it. I've been said it, and I can be at peace to know that somebody heard me. Maybe not the party that I had originally hoped would hear, but someone heard me, and someone grew and experienced it. I've done shows where somebody's come up to me crying afterwards and said, yo, that really touched me, what you just brought to the table, what you just put out there.
Really?
Yeah, it happened when we were at Jomar's. After Jomar's, I was punching the ground.
Oh, yeah.
I went outside afterwards. Dude was like, yeah, man, my dad killed himself, and I've been dealing with drug addiction and everything else like that. And some of what you were saying in there really touched me about, he was heartbroken over his father and over, like, where that relationship had left him.
Right.
And how it had frazzled him and, XYZ. So, there's so much more coming. I would love the support of people who really believe in what I'm doing, for them not to be shy, but to be outspoken. Tell a friend, send somebody the album. You know what I'm saying? I'm changing the way I'm doing marketing. I just put it out on my IG today, where I'm like, I don't think I want to pay marketing teams and stuff like that, or like a marketing company to push me in XYZ at this stage I'm in. I'd rather pay the people who are listening to the music. Every week, let's do a raffle. You know what I'm saying? For everybody who posts a snippet of fake friends on their IG, you and your friends jumping around XYZ, you're entered into a giveaway. I'm giving away $50 on my Cash App. I'm giving away $100 over here if you tag, 10 friends or XYZ, because those are the people who are going to pour back into this. Those are the people who show up to shows. Those are the people who make this worthwhile.
Do you think the grassroots marketing is going to work to grow what you're doing in this fake organic world that we live in now?
Yes, because you get two amazing opportunities. One is the very terrestrial this physical monetary, or this is something I can physically hold and take away. And then the second thing that is more passive, but is the actual intention is, wow, when I heard that song, I heard something that I really liked. And so I kept listening even though I didn't maybe win that $50 or $100. And I shared it with some people and they really liked it too. And then we went to a show and Walk was just so genuine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was just so genuine. I want people to know that, like, I don't think myself better than like other artists, or I don't think like, look at my pain, look at my sorrow, look at it like XYZ. I just got a story to tell. And I think that there's a lot of people out there who will benefit from this story. And if I can keep one person from offing themselves, we did all right.
I think that's a good way to end this.
I agree. You should plug yourself. You should tell people who you are, where they can follow you.
So, I don't do this. But if you want to find me, I do photos. I do some videos.
He's a shooter.
Graphic design.
What else?
Creative directing.
Facts!
Production.
If somebody wants me on their
management.
label, you got to pay Cliff first. Facts!
You're ruining the whole thing now.
I am. I just get excited.
Follow KSPTS on Instagram and visit kaleidoscopespots.com.
Follow at XWLKX on IG and Twitter, and visit my website, www.neverwalkalone.com.
Talk about that real quick before we...
The website.
How the fuck did you come up with Never Walk Alone?
It feels like something for another interview.
Alright, fuck it. Fuck it. Okay.
Is it over?
Is it?
Clap sync on 3. 1, 2, 3.